All right, let's now begin. Yesterday, we just began to think about the frontiers of interrogation, right? The sectors of questioning. Today, we continue that thought, but as a matter of introduction, let me say just one thing. We ask questions, we interrogate, mainly because we are responsible for ourselves. The most fundamental human duty is the duty by oneself. Right? And it is by asking meaningful, relevant, searching questions that we exercise that responsibility. So we're talking about a theme that is extremely important. Right? That said, now let's go further on this. In the interest of clarity and simplicity, I will divide the frontiers of interrogation into two, just two. Questions pertaining to oneself. Secondly, questions pertaining to the world around us or the society. Simple? Very, very simple. Self and society. Okay? Self and society. Now, as far as the individual is concerned, the self, questioning must happen at various levels. And as you go on, as you grow up, as you develop your intellectual equipment, your experience of the world, your thinking powers, you will go through these stages. And therefore, it might be of some interest to you to know what these stages are. The early questions that we ask all pertain to our lack of knowledge or our confusion. Right? If you remember your school days, two things characterized your life. One was you did not know much. Well, that's pretty much the case with us all through our life. I know this about myself. I don't know about you. But in the school days, you did not know much. And also, whenever something was said, you were quite confused. You did not grasp things very quickly or clearly. Even after something was repeated to you 3 times, 4 times, you were still left dazed, confused, right? But I must warn you that this experience or this state of confusion will persist forever, depending on what you're handling. So, we ask questions in the early years of our life in order to add to our store of knowledge or to dilute the density of our confusion. Right? So you listen to someone talking about something, you don't understand, so you say, now what is it about? What are you saying? Can you explain this to me? Can you explain that to me? All right? This is a very simple, familiar experience. You've all gone through it, and therefore you should have no difficulty in understanding it. So this is the first level of interrogation vis-a-vis one's own self. Right? Clear? The second level is the duty to question one's opinions. We all have opinions, right? The duty to question one's opinions. Now, we are tempted to believe that the opinions we hold, simply because we happen to hold those opinions, are all correct. Right? I think so. This is my opinion. Therefore, it cannot be wrong. Now, there is no guarantee that the opinion I hold is right. There is no guarantee that I have examined all available evidence before I came to this opinion. And what is more, in a vast majority of cases, the opinions that we hold are actually not our opinions at all. Rather, they are somebody else's opinions. Right? For example, St. Stephen's is a very good college. When I interviewed students for admission, all of you said, when I asked the question, why do you want to come here? Immediately, without thinking, the answer is, this is the best college in the country. How do you know? It's an opinion you have derived from others. It's not your opinion at all. Right? If you really examine yourself, you will find that your intellectual world today is not intellectual at all. It is nothing but a crowd of opinions which you have accepted unthinkingly from others. For example, it's an untested opinion that it's good to roam around the campus after 10 p.m. It's an opinion that you've derived from others that if you're asked to be in your room after 10 p.m., it is oppression. It's not your opinion at all. It is somebody else's opinion. Okay? And you examine the things that you advocate, you will be surprised, you will be even shocked that you are actually very passionate about what other people are saying. They are not your opinions at all. But many people don't even realize this. Somewhere along the way, I have heard somebody say this, I've stored it somewhere in the brain or my memory or somewhere, and it becomes my opinion, and then I go hammer and tong after anybody who differs from that opinion which is not my opinion. Isn't this funny? Isn't it strange? Isn't this stupid? Now, the first question you have to ask is this my opinion? Have I come to this conclusion based on my study, my analysis, my examination of the data, or have I just lapped it up from somebody? Am I in fact fighting for the opinion of somebody else? Right? There's a lovely poem by Robert Frost called Mending Wall. How many of you have read that poem? Alright. So you will understand this. Now, it's a very simple situation. The poet and his neighbor, and there is a wall between them. Every year during spring season, the wall crumbles. For the stones just fall apart. Something there is that doesn't love a wall, that makes the frozen ground swell under it and spills the upper boulders in the sun. Mysteriously, this wall breaks into pieces. And then his neighbor comes and says, let us repair the wall, let us rebuild the wall, let's mend the wall. And the poet asks, why should there be this wall at all? You are all pine and I am apple, or I am apple, you are apple, I am all pine. My pine cannot come across and trouble you, your apple cannot, your apple trees, cannot come across and trouble me. There are no cows, there is no animal, there is no reason why there should be this wall. But he says, no, we must keep this wall intact because I have heard my forefathers say, good fences make good neighbors. Right? So even when there is absolutely no need for it, no rationale, no justification, no sense in it, you will expend a lot of your energy and your effort and maintain the wall because it is somebody else's opinion. I have heard my grandfather say, good fences make good friends, and therefore I will do it. I'll never ask a question whether it is really worth it, whether it is needed or not. That is how most of us are. For example, it was customary for Stephanians to look down upon the others, especially Hindu college, because Hindu college is a good college, right? So we invented some very bad terminology, them across the road and all the rest of it, and the moment this expression is used, everybody laughs like a stupid fellow. I find nothing humorous about that expression. I find it rather stupid and shallow. I find it completely unbecoming of my college, right? But nobody will question it. And generation after generation will repeat the same stupid stuff. Don't you think this is absolutely senseless, ridiculous, embarrassing? Why shouldn't those who are studying in the other college have their own identity? Why shouldn't Hindu college have its identity? And why shouldn't I ask that question? So a lot of the things that we so gladly and gleefully endorse are not our opinions at all. You have to learn to interrogate these opinions, right? Now, particularly in this media age, which is all the time dishing out opinions to you, opinions by millions, not one or two, every day. All you have to do is to sit in your couch, keep your mouth open, and then you are fed with opinions. And you are not allowed to question those opinions. The moment you question any opinion, you will be silenced. Now that's the kind of world in which you are living. And in such a world, it is all the more important for us to learn to ask questions and to refuse to accept things and opinions without critical scrutiny. Because if you don't do that, you renounce, you give up the right to be truly yourself. You allow yourself to become the dumping ground of somebody's uninformed, uneducated, biased, prejudiced opinions. You are not a dumping ground, you are a precious human being. Respect yourself. Do not allow people to use you as a dumping ground. Believe in the sanctity of your life. Believe in the incalculable treasure that you are. Believe in your immense potential. Believe in your critical ability to come to your own conclusions. Don't become intellectually lazy and lap up what people are saying all the time. Who are they to give you your opinions? You understand? So first I said, ask questions in order to emerge from the cloud of confusion. Secondly, ask questions in order to liberate yourself from the dead weight of other people's opinions, right? Which you think are your opinions. Third, that's an ascending order if you notice. You have to also interrogate the beliefs that you hold. Now you might think that it's a very strange thing for a priest to say this, right? Now, there is a little distinction between belief and faith. Okay? Now, as you come to higher education as against school education, one of the important things you have to develop is the capacity to make subtle distinctions. You have to grow. The kind of school approach will not do. At the school level, it may not make any difference if you do not know the difference between belief and faith. It may not make any difference if you do not know the difference between wedding and marriage. You know the difference between wedding and marriage? See, wedding is a ceremony, marriage is a lifelong thing. So, I am quite amazed that highly educated people will ask me, "Sir, will you come to my marriage?" I cannot come to your marriage. It will be very embarrassing for me and very damning for you. I will come and attend your wedding. Okay? These distinctions are lost. For example, many people have told me, now I take your leave. How can you take my leave? You can only take leave of me. You understand? There's a problem with English. It's not our language. We think that English is our language. It's not our language. There's a foreign language. You have to learn it very carefully. All right? So there is a distinction between belief and faith. Belief is what I construct based on faith, which is universal. You understand? Faith, belief is what I hold, what I make of it. And that may have a lot to do with what other people have made of it. For example, there is the Sanatana tradition. Alright? There is the Judeo-Christian tradition. There is the Islamic tradition. Right? Now, in every religion you will find that there is a huge difference between the scripture and the people. The holy book and the practitioners. Because I make my own versions of this religion. That's called my belief. And I have to continuously question my belief so that the gulf between belief and faith is bridged. I know this is a little difficult for you to understand. I know this. But I'm deliberately introducing this so that you become careful. Particularly today, in the age of popular religion, all you get is a set of opinions in the name of faith. What is marketed in the name of religion has nothing to do with religion. It is nothing but a degraded version of popular beliefs, a set of popular beliefs, very often hodgepodge, taken from here, there and everywhere. And it is marketed beautifully because we are living in a commercial age. I don't want to go into specifics because I may hurt somebody's sensitivities. So be very, very discerning, alert, careful about this. You have to continually examine your belief. That's the highest spiritual duty actually. Blind faith is an insult to God. God is the giver of reason, common sense, wisdom, and such a God will never expect anyone to have blind faith. My definition of blind faith is faith that makes you blind. It is not only that it has no value, it's an absolute liability. So, in any healthy, rational, useful practice of religion, it is absolutely imperative to develop what is called responsible skepticism, the duty to question one's own belief. For example, the Jews believed that if they want to be proper Jews, they should have nothing to do with others. They are superior to others. It's a belief. It is not a faith. They should have nothing to do with the Samaritans who were actually Jews, but slightly different from them. You understand? It's a belief that so and so, because he belongs to this caste, is inferior to me. It's a belief. There's no basis for it. It's a belief that so and so, because he comes from a remote village, is intellectually poor. It's a belief. It has no rational basis. Actually, there was a time when it was believed that beautiful people, handsome people will not be intellectually good. So cine actors, actresses in particular, were always considered intellectually backward. There's a story about George Bernard Shaw, who visited Hollywood, not Bollywood, and a very charming lady proposed to him, saying, "Sir, let's marry, and suppose we get a child who has my beauty and your intellect. What a genius it would be." Shaw said, "No, chances are that he will get my beauty and your intellect." Right? Okay, anyway, the point is, time is running out. We have a duty to interrogate what we hold to be our beliefs. We have to question what we believe. And unfortunately, this is the last thing people do. People are quite happy and eager to question somebody else's belief. But the moment your belief is questioned, you would say, "Don't you do that, okay?" I've seen it umpteen times on television. People saying, don't challenge my faith. This is a matter of faith. It has nothing to do with faith. It is nothing but a belief. And every belief must and will change. No belief is eternal. No belief is permanent. No belief should be permanent. You understand? So when people make such statements, you come across such situations, now you should have the intellectual background to understand their limitations. You understand? Otherwise you will look up to them and say, oh, marvelous defenders of my faith. This is most unfortunate. Actually, such people are the greatest embarrassment to that faith. There is Christianity, Christianity, Hinduism, Hinduism. People who try to defend Christianity in this manner, in my opinion, are the greatest problem to Christianity. I don't know about other religions. God does not need your defense. God is not a fragile puppet. A God who needs me to defend him is not a God. First of all, at least have that much common sense. God is insulted by his self-styled saviors and defenders, right? That much common sense? Is it possible? Therefore, with this insight, which is the truth, you will be able to look at a lot of things that are happening around you with some degree of equanimity, some degree of intellectual balance, some degree of personal dignity. Otherwise, you will also keep barking the same way. And it's a terrible betrayal of the self. All right? So the first frontier of asking questions is pertaining to oneself. Tomorrow I'll talk about the society. Okay? Let's rise for prayer.